Hey guys, Alex Keeson here. Good morning. Happy Thursday. So I just have to think about what day of the week that is. So hoping that your week is going really well thus far. I'm hoping you're accomplishing a lot of great things and taking on some of the goals that you've set. So the regular Monday to Friday is almost there, but just remember you also have the weekend to reflect, reset, or set the new goals for the upcoming week. But what I want to talk about in this particular quick video, is the behavioral styles, what that is, how that impacts us, how it impacts what you do every day, how you communicate with others, and with other behavioral styles. And I'm not going to go into really deep specifics. We can certainly discuss that later if you like, because it's going to be a rather involved and long conversation. But I wanted to just touch on the high points or high level understanding and what the other behavior styles out there, and what do we need to be aware of when we're communicating with others. That's something that I had to learn also the hard way, and in my earlier career years, my preferred style, and actually that is still the style today, that is my strongest and something that I prefer over other styles, is being more of a direct, being a driver in the conversation, in anything I do, and how I communicate with people. So it's and typically somebody who is driver, somebody who is whose preference is really that direct type of communication, not going around the block and trying to sugarcoat things. That's really not my approach. At least that's not my preferred approach. But I think as leaders, of course, we need to be able to match the style of our conversation to others. So it's not just focusing on what we prefer and how we prefer to communicate, but what's more importantly is how do we communicate effectively with others, matching their preferred communication style and their way and their behavioral style. So for example, if in my situation, if my preferred style is being rather more direct. Now there's of course names for it, such as being a driver in most conversations. And drivers are somebody that's really direct, somebody that wants to get things accomplished right away, quickly, doesn't have time for all the talk and asking how things are, or finding out how you spend your weekend. That's really not our forte. But our goal is let's get the job done, let's move on to the next task, let's get this completed. And but what happens a lot of times is that's kind of what happened with me, until I realized, like, wait a minute, that's not everybody communicates the same way. And I think that's really the key here. Is really for me was to realize that listen, not everybody communicates the same way as you do, and people prefer to be communicated in different ways. So, for example, if I'm communicating with someone who is not a direct type of communicator, who's not a driver, but more so somebody who is, prefers to spend time to get to know you better, get to know about your family, about your kids, about your hobbies and things of that nature, to really feel comfortable with you. And instead spend time conversating and spending more time to talk about other things not necessarily related to project, a task, or business. How do you communicate with someone like that? And that was something that's important for me. It was, and I'm sure for others, is to realize that you need to match or tone down your preferred communication style to someone you're communicating with who may not be whose preference may not be the same as yours when communicating. So perhaps it's taking that time, and instead of as a driver typically would lead the conversation and generate all the ideas and move forward with them, instead it's taking the time and really listen and allow others to share their ideas, share their opinions, share their frustrations, as well as share their concerns to you, and for you to listen and understand, and really try to understand exactly where they're coming from, versus just really focusing on your idea, on what are you trying to accomplish, and what do you think is the best thing and the best project. That's typically something most of the time we feel that way. So just taking time and understand that, and because there's a lot of great things, great ideas that we may miss, or maybe not mentioned if we are not listening and we're just focusing and self-centered on ourselves and what we think is the right thing to do. But once you listen, once you understand, once you really establish that connection and that rapport with someone who is different communication style from yours, then all of a sudden the communication becomes much more effective, and you will be accomplishing or can accomplish a lot of great things, because a lot of good ideas will surface, and that's something you can use. At that point, you can utilize your preferred communication style to move it forward. But that's the key here, is to understand that, and then that's something that you need to be aware of at all times, because then you're not sitting and wondering why nobody's listening to me, why nobody's talking to me, why why people are not sharing the ideas with you, because they probably think that you're not going to listen to them, and because you're focused on your own ideas. So just something important to remember, something important to keep in mind, and that's something that I had to learn the hard way. So I wanted to, hopefully, if you're struggling with that right now, hopefully this helps for you to understand and really take some time to understand where others are coming from. But one thing that also helped me, just to kind of throw this out there, is that before you start the conversation, before you go into perhaps a big project that you're going to work on, setting the expectation, and get others also put in their expectation as to what is your preferred communication style. Because I think once you put us out there and make others aware, this is the way I prefer to communicate, as well as ask them exactly how they prefer to be communicated with, it will help you to understand and realize that okay, I need to adjust my communication style accordingly to make sure that we are being as effective as we possibly can be on this project, to make sure it becomes a success. So we can chat about more. If you have any questions, ideas, suggestions on this particular topic, please leave your comments, and I will gladly respond. But other than that, that was all for today. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Hopefully you're having a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. This was Alex Keeson. Take care.